Hey guys, thanks for tuning in and watching D-Mace FPV, and I wanted to share how I set up my FT Mini Aero FPV. When I built this wing about 2 months ago, I couldn't find a video anywhere on the Aero specifically that talked about how they set up FPV, and I had to do a lot of research and kind of put it all together based on what I learned from other builds. So hopefully this being specific to the FT Mini Aero will help some of you out there. The biggest thing that I found that I needed for this build was I had to make this, I guess, somewhat wonky looking adapter to power my VTX, my video transmitter. And I'll cover that here in just a second. So here's what I'm running. I'm running a 3S30C E-Flight 850 milliamp. It's long. It takes up a whole lot of the bay here. I'll show that in a second. Here I have a Fast Shark 600 CMOS video camera. Inside here is and there's other cameras out there, but I'll have links to all this stuff down in the description. Fast Shark Immersion RC right hand circular polarized antenna. Inside here is the 200 milliwatt video transmitter VTX Immersion RC. I want to say the antenna, I got a pair for I don't know, maybe 20 bucks or something. The VTX and the camera, I want to say the VTX and the camera off of getfpv.com was I don't know, 80 bucks with shipping, something like that, maybe 90 bucks. It's under $100 for sure. Okay, so here's how I got this working. Inside here, you'll see that I have this is the power lead from the video transmitter that I power from this battery via the balance connector. What I did was I took a balance extension harness. Let me show it to you. It's not a harness, it's just a balance extension. It's not a harness, it's just a balance extension. And I trimmed the appropriate end off to connect into the battery. And I pulled the plugs out. Oh, sorry. Pulled the plugs out, it was just with a pair of needle nose. Let me zoom in on that, get that clarified. So you can see I just got 2 pins left. The red is hot, and the black is your ground. These other wires are just for data signal, so when you balance it on your charger, it knows what it's doing. So that now clips into here, okay, and then that runs to the power the VTX. One thing I want to point out is you definitely are going to want to reinforce this connection. And the way I did that is I actually reinforced it at the plate, and then I kind of glued the wires together here. So this is malleable, which is not a big issue. I actually had it happen where the connection on this side here, if I hold it in, you can maybe tell. Try it one more time. Right there, you can kind of see the wires. I actually had to resolder this from coming in and out of the bird, pulling that in and out. This is a very rigid line. There's no malleability on that particular end. There is on this side. I could bend this all day. I'm not worried about that. That's not going to cause problems. But this actually has a rigid pin in it. And that actually sheared off, and I lost part of my VTX. Thank God I noticed that when I was doing my pre-flight and saw that my little red light wasn't on. I'm like, no. And then I had to, correct this. This is fine now. All right. Okay. So not a lot of room in here. One thing that I'm annoyed by, and well, I'm not annoyed. I'm just disappointed that my transmitter, I have a Spectrum 4 channel, will not fit in the wing bay as sort of advertised on the build video and stuff. I don't know, maybe other receivers can fit, but I found between the height of the receiver coupled with the servo connections, it's too tall. It will not fit in the wing. So I have to put it in the bay, and that's hogging a lot of space. I'm not worried about the weight. It's just I don't have a lot of space with all my adapters and wires and stuff. This harness I got from a local hobby shop, and they got it off of Horizon Hobby. I'll see if I can find a link to this and put that in the description for you as well. I think it was like $5. But then you can obviously transfer this guy to whatever bird you want to fly. So that's good. I did have to do a JST, excuse me, JST connector to DX30 that comes standard with the F pack from Flight Test with their 12 amp ESC. So, you know, a little soldering involved there. Again, this little bit of wire doesn't seem like much, but it's taken a lot of the bay storage. I know Flight Test sells like stubbier, shorter packs, but I think they're a little taller, battery packs, if they're a little bit taller. But this is what I had access to here in town, and so that's what I'm using. It's a great little battery. It's plenty. I'm getting 5 minutes line of sight, and then I've only pushed it to 4.5 minutes flying FPV. But I'm probably close to 4 minutes solid. I mean, and that's like getting after the throttle. So it's plenty of stuff. Let me go ahead and put it together and show you what it looks like up inside here. Before I do that, let me just be clear that this line right here is coming from the battery via the adapter to the transmitter, video transmitter, and then this here is the camera line that's running from the transmitter to the camera to give you the the video that you need. You can see down in there that I have a little piece of two-sided tape. I originally started with a two-sided piece of tape. Sorry, it's a 700 CMOS, not 600. I started with a piece of two-sided tape because I didn't want to really commit this camera, and I was scared to like glue it in and get my alignment right and all that stuff. So what I did is I made sure that with a two-sided piece of tape, I got really comfortable with understanding the orientation of my camera that sits in the nose to get my horizon level. And the way I would do that is I power it all on. I put it actually on this table, which is a level surface, and then I look through the goggles. And if the horizon was off, if my camera was off, the horizon would be tipped a certain way, and I would just adjust the camera. Look through the goggles, get it right, and then I knew exactly how the camera needed to sit. I've since, been emboldened, and I've actually hot glued it just a little bit. I hot glued it at the bottom to the two-sided tape. There's a little bit of wiggle in this, but it's not bad. It's not bad at all. So I wanted it actually to be able to break free in the event of a crash that absorbs some of that energy. Okay, let me hook it together and show you what it looks like all packed in there real tight. Okay, you can see I got power on, a little light coming through. It lets me know my transmitter on. That's nice, the video transmitter. Open this up, and she's packed in there. So this piece here is the video transmitter adapter. This side here, I've laid my power to the bird. Direct via JST on the side here. I mean, these wires definitely like pop around and stuff, but I got a pretty decent glob on here, so it she stays down pretty good. She's not going to go anywhere. So there's that. Okay. One thing I want to point out actually is on this connector, you can see I actually had to create a JST adapter for this is the VTX again. So this end here is coming out of the transmitter. This is going into the adapter. This little glob of glue right here is actually not a bad idea either, because again, it helps protect these wires from wear and tear and bending, but it also provides a nice little grip for disconnecting these connectors, which I'm sure those are kind of can be a pain sometimes. All right, so that's it for the FPV side of things as far as I know. If you guys have any questions more or comments, please let me know down in the comments. The other thing I want to talk about quickly about this setup is she looks really beat up, and that's because it's been she's been hammered hard on some crash landings. So the first time I made this thing, I had it in the air maybe 10 seconds, and I had it in high rates. That was a really bad idea, you know, for a maiden, and had it in too low. Crashed it into the one boulder that was out in the field. I mean, it cracked completely in half. I mean, battery ejected. The battery is actually damaged. I had to toss it, etc. Glued it back together. It was fine. Cracked it in half again on a weird spiral. Lost visual on it. Line of sight. Both of these were line of sight crashes. Again, it was in several pieces. Glued it back together. Flies fine. And then just the other day, unfortunately, low light, line of sight. It wasn't flying FPV. And I put it into a tree canopy, which it caught and whatever. Couple little things that I did. So this wing end. Let me disconnect my battery here quick. Okay, so the wing tip here, you can see she got bent real hard right here. I used you can see through the shadow, maybe, right through here. I just crammed a skewer, a barbecue skewer, pointy end in, and then glued it in there. Keeps it nice and rigid. It's not going anywhere. I was getting some weird rudder because it was bent out this way, so I had to tow that back in. Glue wasn't enough. This side's got a little bit of a lean to it, but it's not enough to affect it. Okay, so the hatch gets a lot of use. I actually hot glue on the back of the tape and then lay that tape on there. And I mean, I've really done the serious job of reinforcing this front end, and it's worked really well. Let me flip it over before I talk about that tape. So absolutely, this is a non-negotiable for me, especially after 2 crashes, because it preserves the front end, the nose end. And where it'll happen is that force is going to split the wing in two. Actually, in 2 relatively considering neat pieces that you can glue back together. Glue this thing back together twice, and it flies. It's crazy how well it still flies. If I'm you, here's what I'd do. I'd skip that taping piece that Josh does in the video. I would actually score and delaminate, just so you peel that foam, the paper off, so just expose the foam. Lay a good thick hot bead of glue down there, and then press that on and let it dry really well. You can see right in here. I mean, it received a lot of damage, and that's all just hot glue, nice and hard. And it's good to go. That's it for there. Let's talk about this side. Okay, so when the wing cracked in half twice, basically these seams got weakened, and they kept weakening a little bit over time. So I used some hot glue with this fiberglass tape and laid it on there and really tried hard to keep these edges tucked in real tight to the edge to prevent it from doing any kind of flexing. It'll still flex a little bit, but it's definitely significantly reduced the flex that the wing does, because it meets resistance right here. It can only flex so far now that this is like one hard piece, and the force is usually down, it's not up. So when I fold it up, it doesn't move. When I fold it down, it wiggles just a hair. That's it. The other thing too is I did have a control horn come loose. Definitely make sure you're checking your control horns, control surfaces, and all that kind of stuff. And I hope you guys found this video helpful and not too rambly. First YouTube sort of help video for this stuff, and I'm looking forward to doing more. If you got any questions, comments, please let me know in the space below. Please like and share, and look forward to hearing from you guys. Thanks so much.